Hello, welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is YAHMAD. So in this video we're going to continue on with paper 2 from the CIE ICT IGCSE course. We've started a May-June 2020 paper, variant 22. So this was the paper that was cancelled by COVID. If you check out the previous video, I've completed the document production part, and now we're going to be doing data manipulation, which is the database part. So guys, remember paper 2 is a practical paper which is 2 hours and 30 minutes long. So let's go down to page, I think it was page 7. Yep. Task 3 databases. I've got the evidence documents open as well from the previous part of the exam paper. As you can see, we've taken some screenshots from the Word task and we're now ready to start the database task. So you are now going to prepare some reports. Dates are to be imported in the format of day, month and year. So using a suitable database package, import the following files. So before we can do anything, let's just make a new database file. So we can just right click our mouse, go to new and select Microsoft Access Database, or you could just simply open up Access and do it that way as well. Okay, doesn't really matter what you call it, so let's just call it 2020. And open up the database file. So we are going to be importing this file here, j220results.csv. If you look at your source folder, it's going to be this CSV file here. So let's just have a quick look. It's not necessary to have a look at the CSV file, but if you want to have a quick look to get familiar with the data, you can do so. Okay, that's fine, just normal data. We've got fields and then records, and this is the Boolean field. It's going to be yes or no. I can tell because it's got -1 and 0. Yeah, that's fine. So remember, close it down, don't make any save changes before you import. Okay, to import the CSV file you need to click on external data, new data source, from file and text file. You may be using a different version of Access, so if you click on external data, text file may be up here. I'm just going to pause the video whilst I browse and locate the file of the CSV. Okay, so I've now found the location of the file. So if I just press cancel, remember you click on browse, go to your source folder, and the file that we need to import is going to be this one here, ending in results. Double check. Yep. Double click, press OK. Then we need to click on next. Select the first row contains field names because these are field names along the top. And then go to advanced. So the first thing we need to check is the data in the correct format? Yes, it is. And now let's check the data types. So the first 4 should be text. So short text, yep, that's fine. Birth date is going to be date and time, that's fine. Then we have some number fields. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 fields which should be numbers. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. What was penalty? And penalty is going to be shown as a Boolean field. So we did see a double. So this is where we have decimal places, that's fine. Penalty, let's change to yes or no. Okay, and the next 4 fields should be text. Okay, short, yeah, that's fine. Okay, so as you can see, the double normally refers to the field which contains decimal values. Okay, so we need to store and display to 2 decimal places, which we can do later on. Press OK. Next. Do we have a primary key? So we need to set the racer ID as the primary key. So remember, the primary key is a unique piece of data for each record. So we can choose our own primary key and racer ID. Yeah, that's fine. Next and finish. Open up the table, and the first thing we need to do is to set this to 2 decimal places, so this field here. Okay, so we can go to Home, Design View, and click on here. You can see the format is double. Decimal places we want to set to 2. Let's go to View, Okay, that's fine. That's been set to 2. Let me just see if I go back to here, and if I click on standard, actually that's better like that. So to get 2 decimal places, what I had to do was I went to design view, I changed this to 2, and we changed the format to standard. Okay, the next thing that we need to do is to show this as yes or no. So remember, this is a penalty field and it's to be displayed as yes or no. So again, we go to design view, click on penalty and change the format to yes or no. Click on view, and yeah, we're good to go. That's done. For evidence 5, so let me just quickly save the data. For evidence 5, we need to place in your evidence document a screenshot showing the primary key, field names and data types used in this table. So this is a typical print screen we do in databases. So we go to design view and we basically need to print screen this. Okay, I may need to take a couple of print screens so we can get everything in one go. Okay. Again, I've mentioned in previous videos, if you want to use a snipping tool, it's up to you. I just prefer to use this method now since I've been using it for a long time. Okay, so I'm going to have to take this screenshot in 2 separate goes. So I think we'll go just above the Boolean field. Okay, so we can see the field names, the data types. Yeah, let's take the next print screen. Obviously now we want to show this part. Okay, go back to my evidence document. So it's okay with this part if you do take additional print screens. Again, crop off the parts which you don't need, and I just want to show from the yes or no field, the Boolean field. Okay, let me just see if I can make that all fit. Let's make this a little bit smaller perhaps. Make this a little bit bigger. We see the format below there. Okay, I'm happy with that. I'm just going to crop off this part here. Yeah. For this one, I'm just going to crop off the bottom part. There we go. Yeah, we've got all the fields, the different data types, and we've got this extra piece of information here to show that this is going to be shown as yes or no. The format has been changed. Okay, let me just zoom onto this page. Okay, that's better. We can move this one down now to the next page. Okay, so that's that part done. Now we need to import the second CSV file, and this one ends in club.csv, okay, as a new table in your database. So again, we can close this down. We go to external data, new data source, from file, text file, or you may click up here to get a text file, or you can click there as well. So the CSV file ended in clubs. Again, press OK, next. The first row contains field names, and let's just have a look at the data we have. So it seems like it's all text. Yeah. And these are just points here, so let's go to advanced. Yeah, we've got integer at the end. And the club rank is also an integer, but that's fine. Let's go forward. Do we have a primary key? Set the club ID as the primary key. So we can choose our own primary key. I'm going to choose the club ID. Next, finish. Now we need to create a one-to-many relationship between club ID in a clubs table, so from this table, to the club code in the results table. Okay, so we don't need to change anything here, so we need to basically link the club ID, which is going to be this one here, this fields, to club code in the results table. Okay, so to create your relationship, make sure you close down the tables. You go to database tools and you click on relationships. So we click on this and then this. and you can increase the size of your tables. So it's going to be club ID from the clubs table to club code. I'm just going to click on create. Then what I'm going to do is click on this line here and show this as a print screen, because normally we have to print screen the evidence. Yep. And what we have is a one-to-many relationship. Okay. So let's take this print screen, and I'll explain the one-to-many relationship in a moment as well. So this was evidence 6. Again, crop off the parts which are not necessary. You want to make sure your print screen is nice and clear, showing the relationship between the two key fields, and obviously is a one-to-many relationship. So what does that one-to-many mean? Let me just click on OK, close this, save the changes. So each record probably refers to a club, okay, and each club has a unique ID. So one club has many races, I think these are, yeah, many members or many races, okay. So this club has 35, you can see the number at the bottom here. This club has 23, so it's the example, classic example is one teacher, many students in one class. Okay, so we've done the relationship. And now question 21, we need to enter the following details as a new record in the results table. So let me click on here. So this is the results table. Sometimes they may ask you to create a data entry form, but in this paper we're just going to add the new record along the bottom here. So in the exam you won't have it electronic, so you basically will have to copy out this information. So make sure you do type it exactly as it appears here, also including capital letters when shown. Okay, so what I'm going to do, I'm just going to pause the video whilst I finish writing in or copying and pasting in the fields. Okay, so now I've entered all of the data. So before we move on, let's check your data for any errors. Okay, so we can check 4 fields at a time. So this is a code. Let's get this highlight pen on again. Let me double check. So XC0235, Olson, Janet, and then MTP C10. Yep, 12 of the 2nd, 1991, 28. Yeah, 28 and 1367 and 6. Done. 105, 1550. Yeah, then the next one's going to be, so penalty was yes, and I haven't changed this, so this needs to be yes, so it's a good thing I did check. And then we've got senior 19 to 29, yeah, and then expert and female. Yeah, so make sure you do check. Luckily I did check and noticed there was a mistake with penalty. So now we can move on. Save the changes, close down the tables, and this is now where we create a query and a report. So the question says, using fields from both tables, produce a tabular report. Okay, so remember, before we can make the report, so the report is how the data is going to be represented or formatted. We need to create something called a query, and in the query is where we select the fields, we enter some search criteria, and then once we've filtered down the data, then we can basically create a report based from that query. So always, if you look at this question, and then if you look at the next question that we're going to do, we always go with selecting the fields first. Okay, so if I go to Access, you click on Create, Query Wizard, press OK. So we've got 2 tables and we need to select fields from both tables. So it's going to be first name, last name, club name. So first name, last name, the club name is probably in clubs. Yeah. Category, gender. So let's look new table. Category, gender, and event rank. Okay, so that one there. Next, next. And when you get to this point, I always like to include the title that's going to be appearing at the top of the report. So query 2. Actually, wait, that's not the title, so I just realized that was a mistake. So what I'm going to do is change my annotation. So I'm going to just move that for now, and then this we need to move up to here. Okay, and this is also a report task which we'll come to. So the title that's going to be at the top of the report, I like to also name the query with the same title, and you'll see why later on in a moment. So the title will be results by category. Let's put that title in. Finish. So we're starting off with 774 records, as you can see. If you go straight to the report, you're going to be printing for days. So what we need to do next is to enter the search criteria. So the event rank is going to be 5 or less, so you can basically use this criteria here. To enter the criteria, we go to Home, Design View. Underneath event rank, so see here criteria, below the tick, we can enter the criteria. So less than or equal to 5. Always enter one search criteria one at a time. So we're down to 69 records, and you can see these numbers seem to be less than 5. Yep, 5 or less. And ability does not include novice. So there's two ways of doing this. You can either use the greater than and less than sign, novice, or just write not novice. It doesn't really make a difference. So what is that? What field was that again? So ability. So you can see here we don't have ability as a field, but if you go to design view, we can add ability. And what we basically want to show is, or say, is not novice. So I'm going to use the greater than and less than. Click on run, and we are down to 59 records. So I'm just going to click here. Can we see novice anywhere? No. So we could have also wrote it like this as well. So I'm going to show you. You can do that as well if you wanted to. Doesn't really make a difference. So not, and we're still down to 59 records, and you can see we don't have novice here. Okay, so we've done that now. The search criteria is finished. We are now ready to move on to the report task. Okay, so save the changes to the query. Go to, actually before we move on, are we meant to show ability? No. So what we can do is we can hide this field. Okay, click on run, and you can see still we have 59 records. So you can still search by field and then hide it after if you want to. Now we're going to move on to create a report. So you click on create report wizard, just save the changes, select all of the fields, next, next. When you get to this point here, you can see we have an R, which now stands for report task. So sorts the data into descending order of category. So category is going to be descending, and then ascending order of event rank. So yeah. So because we have done the sorts, these fields will now appear at the front, but obviously we need to put the fields back in the same order as shown here, and we can do that in a moment. Okay, so we've done that. Has a portrait, has a page orientation of portrait. So we can choose that. Next, and we're going to enter the title again. So includes only the text results by category as a title displayed in a larger font. So we can change that in a moment in the report. Finish. Okay, so this is a report, and there's a few things that we need to do. The reason I like to name a query with the same name as the report is now I know this query is for this report because they both have the same name. Right, what we need to do first of all is to display the fields in this order and make sure all of the data is shown, and making sure all of the data fits one page wide. So what we're going to do is click on close, change the view to a layout view, and these are the fields we've sorted on. So what I need to do first of all is just to move this across. So to select the field name and the data, you need to press down on Control on your keyboard, select them both at the same time. So again, select the field name, press Control, select the field data, and the first thing I'm going to do is just move the fields back into the right order. So the first thing that we need to have was first name, last name, and then club name. First name, last name. Let's just move these across. Okay, and I'm going to move this across again just to give myself a little bit more space to work with. Just move this across slightly. And then what we need to do is make sure all of the data is shown in full. So can we see all of the names? Yes, but obviously you can see this name is slightly cut off. So what we need to do is just move this slightly to the right, and then we want to make sure these names are shown in full as well. Yeah, we can see that name is now shown in full. We've got the club name. Is that all shown in full? Obviously this is slightly cut off, so let's just increase the size of that. Yeah, we can move this to the end slightly. Move this across, and then finally okay, so I just want to make sure all of the data is fully visible. Yeah, perfect, well done to myself. Right, and it fits on a single page wide. Okay, so that's worked. So what you don't want to do is, let's say for example, if I go to design view, and let's say I went slightly over like this, I want to show you what happens. Now if I go to print preview, you can see some of the data has come onto the next page, which we don't, well not data, but this part of the report has come onto the next page, and that's not what we want. We need to make sure everything fits to one page. So let's just move this back to where it was. Check the print preview. Yeah, so all of the data fits one page going across. Okay, so that's that done. Now we need to increase the size of the title. So we need to display the title in a large font, fully visible at the top of the page. So we can, it's already in a large font, but we can make it even larger. So go to design view. We can go to home, and we can increase the size of this font here. If you want to increase the size of this, you can do. Okay, so let's make it a little bit bigger actually, so it's obvious that we have changed the size. Okay, so let's have a look. Yep, that's that done. And what we need to do next is to calculate the number of races and places under the gender column. So if you go to layout view, remember each record, each person is a racer. So we just need to count, and we can count any field. It doesn't really make a difference because we're going to get 59. So click on any field, come up into here, so make sure you're in layout view. Go to totals and click on count records, and you should have the number 59. Yep, that's what we had from the query. So we've done that. It's formatted as an integer. So yep, I don't need to change anything here because it's already shown as an integer. If you wanted to show, format it You can use the property sheet and you can change the formatting up here, but it's not necessary. So that's done, and has a label number of erasers to the left of this value. So when you are entering this label, make sure you include capital letters when shown. Make sure you don't make any spelling mistakes as well. So go to design view, go to design, and then click on this icon here to add a label. So just draw a box. Number of erasers, again you can go to print preview, go to second page. We can go to the bottom, and this is to the left of this. Yeah, that's fine. What you can do is just to move this maybe across slightly, and then this as well across slightly, and then let's go to print preview. So second page. Yeah, so now this is underneath this column a little bit more. If you wanted to be a bit more specific, make it underneath agenda columns. We can move it across a little bit more. Let's see where that number is. Yeah, so it's bang in the middle of the agenda column, and you got this label to the left. Okay, has only your name, center number and candidate number in the footer of the report, so it appears on every page. So if you go back to design view, you got report header and report footer. If you put your name here in a report header, it will only appear on the first page. If you have your name in a report footer, it's only going to appear on the last page. We want to include our details, including the center number and candidate number, in the footer on every page, and we don't want to show anything else. So it has only your name. So what we need to do first of all is get rid of these things in the page footer. So if you want to put something in the page header, you can create a text box here, but we're going to insert the information here in the page footer. So I'll type my name out. For center number, I'll use 5678, and then for candidate number 1234. And if we go to print preview again, hopefully you should see my name here on the first page, and my name here on the second page. Okay, so save and print your report. Whoops. And when you receive your report from the printer, the first things you should be checking for is all of the data shown. Okay, are the fields in the right order? Is the formatting correct? And if you're happy, then obviously you can go forward. So evidence 7, place in your evidence document a screenshot of the formula used in the database to calculate the number of erasers. So what we do is we basically take a print screen of this, or if you want to use a snipping tool, you can do that as well. So this is evidence 7. Increase the size of your screenshot, and here's the formula. Okay, done. Okay, question 23. Again, we're going to be creating a report, so using fields from both tables, produce a tabular report. This question is slightly more complicated, but it's pretty much the same thing. The only thing different here is we have to create a new calculated field. You can see I've already annotated the question again. So you've got the Q's for query, R's for report. Okay, so again we're going to select the fields, and then we're going to label a query with the same title. That's going to appear at the top of the report. So again, we can go ahead, save the changes. You click on Create Query Wizard. Make sure you select your fields from the two tables, not the query from the previous task. We want to select the fields from the tables. So let's see what we need to do. We need to select first name. Let me just click on my highlighter pen. First name, last name, club name again. So first name, last name, and club name again. location category, where's category, here we are, event rank, penalty, and then the average miles per hour, and then this is going to be the field that we create in this question here. So that's it for now. We can move forward, next, and then like I said before, let's use the same title. That's going to be at the top of the report. So obviously when you're doing this, you would have to enter the exact details shown on the paper, so capital letters, make sure you make no spelling mistakes. Finish. So again, we're starting off with 774 records. So we've done that part now. We have 3 search criteria here. So the location includes the text east. So let's have a look at the location. Okay, so what we're going to do is, let me just see, yeah, we need to include these fields, which include east at the start. Let me just see what else we have. Yeah, and we have east here as well, eastern. So we need to include any data where, or any, if we go back to question paper, any text that contains east. So what we need to do is wrap east in 2 stars. And what I will do is basically find anything that contains east. So if you go to home and design view, location, star, east, star, click on run. So by doing that, we basically find anything that contains east, including eastern, and let's see what else we have, southeast, northeast. So we're down to 134 records. The category is going to be senior, so that's quite straightforward. We can just basically go to category in design view, underneath the tick, type in senior. Yeah, we're just down to 75 records now. And the penalty is going to be yes. So this is going to be yes. So again, enter your search criteria 1 at a time. You can see if it's worked or not, and we're down to now 20 records. So location includes east, category is senior, and penalty is yes. So all this is done now. So the only tricky part about this was maybe anything that contains a particular piece of text, you put stars on both sides, okay? Right, now we need to create this new field called revised underscore NPH. When you do create a new field, it's normally followed by a colon, okay? It's going to be calculated at runtime using the data from the average miles per hour field. So you know this is a field because it's italic, or you can also check here, yeah, it's a field. So using the data from the average miles per hour field and reducing this by 5%. So we need to create a runtime or create a calculated field which will basically reduce this by 5%. So we can do that by multiplying it by 0.95. So the field goes into square brackets. As you can see, you need to write it exactly as it appears. You can't make any spelling mistakes. If there's an underscore, you need to include the underscore. And if you want to take 5% away, you need to multiply it by 0.95. So let me see if I can copy this. To create this field, you go to design view and you come to the end here and you enter a new field here. So remember, you first of all write the name of the new field, which is here. Oh, not there. Yeah. Then you need to write down any fields which is part of this calculation. So remember, after the name, you need to include colon. So you can see the colon here. Okay. Then the field that's going to be used, and if you are using an existing field, you need to place it in square brackets, and since we want to take 5% away from this, we need to multiply by 0.95. Okay. Format this field to display 2 decimal places. Okay, to display two decimal places, just click on a field, come up to the property sheet. Remember, you can click up here to show the property sheet and change the format to standard and then select two decimal places. Click on run. Yep, happy with that. So save the changes. And then what we can do is, yep, we've finished all of that. Okay, and I think we are now ready to move on to the reports part of the task. Okay, so before we move on, make sure you have the correct fields shown here. Okay, we've got the new fields. We've entered the correct search criteria, which we checked before. Once you're happy, then let's go to the report wizard to make the report. So select all of the fields from this query here. Click on next, next, next. And we need to sort the data into descending order of average miles per hour. So descending on this field here. Remember, this field goes to the beginning. So we need to move it back to this position in a moment. Is it going to be landscaped? Yes, it is. And let's include the title again. And then we can click on finish. And what we need to do, obviously, if we zoom out, you can see not all of the data is shown in full. So we need to make sure all of the data is showing, okay, and fits to a single page. So let me just highlight these tasks as complete first of all. And let's start by putting the fields back into the right order. So if we go to layout view, I'm going to move this field just towards the end here, and let's start moving these fields across now, making sure they all fit in. Okay, so that's the first name. Let's move the last name across. Yep, I'm just going down to make sure all of the information is shown in full. Yep, that's shown in full. Okay, yep, happy with that. So after category is going to be event rank, and we can double check in a second. Then it's going to be penalty. Then it's the average miles per hour, and then it's the actual new field that we created. So let's just move this across slightly. There we go. So we have a little bit of extra space here, so we can move some of this information across. And you can see we have now fitted the data to one page wide. Okay. So done. Okay, all of the labels are displayed in full. There's nothing grouped. Fits on a single page. For the title, we need to change the format. So this title here, if we go to, actually I just realized that R is slightly cut off. Is everything else fine? Just let me check the fields first of all, if they're in the right order. First name, last name, club name. Yep. Location, category, event rank. Yep. Penalty, average miles per hour, revised. Yep, that's done. So let's now format the title. So if I go to design view, highlight the title, and we need to format this title so it's going to be black, 30 points, and in a serif font. So we can go to home, we can change the color to black, we can change the size to 30, and we can choose a serif font, so we can go for Times New Roman. And you may need to increase the size of this box so we can show the full title. Okay, done. Make sure all the letters are fully visible, has your name, centre number and candidate number on the report. So it doesn't say where, it can be top or bottom, header or footer. Okay, so let's just include the name here at the top. So again, if you go to design, click on the label tool or icon, and we need to include your name, centre number, candidate number. So let's click inside of the box. For centre number, I'll go with 5, 6, 7, 8, and then candidate number 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, go to print preview. Yep, the title's been formatted. The name is at the top. There's only one page of one. Is all of the data shown in full? Yes. So we can go ahead and print and make sure this is to 2 decimal places, which it is. Yep, we can print this off. Okay, so that's that done. And we can save the changes and we can close this down. So what we have here is basically 2 queries that we created and 2 reports that we created. And you can see using the same name for the query and report makes sense now, because this is obviously linked to this one, and then this query is linked to this report. Okay, we have to export this report into your work area, and we have to save it as or export it as an RTF file. So if we right click, we can click on export, select Word RTF file, choose your source folder, and save your name, or save the name of the file as SPA. Press OK. Okay, so if I now go to the evidence document, or to my source folder, we need to take a screenshot of the exported file saved into the evidence document, and we need to make sure we show the file type as well. Okay, so, and I think that's the last part. Yeah, that's the last part of databases. So evidence 8. Here's the file. There's a file type. Let me take the print screen. Evidence 8, and yep, that's it. We're done. So we've come to the end of the database section. I think it was relatively straightforward. We didn't have to create a form. Yeah, it was straightforward pretty much. The only maybe tricky part was the calculated field, where we have to reduce it by 5%, but you just need to apply your maths knowledge. The search criteria, where the text contains east. So if there's more than one word and you want to find something that contains east, just put 2 stars, one at the front and one at the end, to find that particular criteria. And yeah, this question was quite straightforward. Okay guys, we've come to the end of this video. Please drop your comments below. Good luck if you have exams coming up in October and November. Hopefully the next set of videos I will complete this paper, including mail merge and PowerPoint. Thank you for your time, and again, good luck in your exams. Bye.